The excitement with the New York Yankees as they close out the two-game set. That's against the Atlanta Braves tomorrow night, June 23rd at 7:30. Tickets that are available now at the stadium through Ticketmaster, the Yankee Clubhouse stores, and on the web at www.yankees.com. And you also see the Phillies and the Orioles on the upcoming schedule. The improved Philadelphia Phillies. They've got some exciting players that.
Terry Francona had said last year, if we get some outfielders, they had a solid infield. Now they've got Abreu and Glanville, Jeffries. They're all hitting over 300.
Braves here in the seventh. Danny Batista will lead it off. Batista's father, Jesus de la Rosa, back in 1975, got 3 at-bats with the Houston Astros. All as a pinch hitter, went 1 for 3. Well, that was it.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah. Rolled off the back and by Scott Brosius. Batista with the big turn, but Derek Jeter runs it down, and Batista's going to hold with a single. And Brosius, well, not much you can do when a ball hits the bag and hops over your head. It's going to be a leadoff single.
Hey, you notice Scott was in really good position to field this ball, going for the backhand, just got a bad break. Looked like he twisted his knee just a bit in the soft ground. Jeter alertly over to pick it up, and I'll tell you, the Braves have been schooled in base running. They run hard. I mean, Batista, like Gerald Williams, was almost halfway to second base. They're going to make you make the play and get it back in.
Batista with good speed at first. Ozzie handles the bat well. He's at the plate. There's a toss over the first. Invariably, you'll always see a throw to first when a bunt situation arises, because you want to see if the hitter gives you any indication on that first move by the pitcher if he's going to bunt or not. Brosius in on the grass at third. There's a look at the Yankee third baseman. He in squares and takes the pitch low for a ball.
Again, here's where the pickoff move has some nice advantages. Bullpen Dennis Martinez for the Braves, who has really been their closer since Mark Wohlers has been injured and ineffective. Andy Pettit's pickoff move now will keep Batista a little closer, so on a ball bunted, like say to Scott Brosius, he'll have a little better chance maybe to get him at second base.
There's that short lead, and the throw to first. It's awkward getting back. Remember that game, May I take that giant step? There's Jeff Nelson, speaking of giant steps, warming up in the Yankee bullpen. Very measured lead. There's the bunt. There's going to be a play. No, the play will go to first base for the out. And maybe the hop off of the home plate was higher than I anticipated. It looked like Girardi was thinking about throwing to second.
Yeah, he made the move like he was. Again, an example of how baseball's a slow-paced game, but things happen quickly. I think maybe Pettit was in his way right there. And Joe had plenty of time to go to second, and I think Andy Pettit shielded him just enough. Joe went out and had a word with him right after that play. I think he wanted to go to second, but he would have had a hold up till Pettit got out of the way.
Well, that'll move a runner into scoring position for Tony Graffinino, who led the ball game off with a single to center, then forced a runner, and then was called out on strikes to end the 5th inning. And we're going to have a discussion here between Girardi and Andy Pettit. Got Gerald Williams on deck, who's had a couple of hits tonight. The Braves Toyota box score, and they're the 2 hits, 2 for 3 for Gerald Williams, the only Brave with a multiple hit game working. The Yankees are going to play Graffinino just about straight away. Oh, that just missed third base coach Bobby Dews.
Bobby's had to be light on his feet tonight. Pettit coming inside with that cutter, getting well off the plate. They've hit a few shots down there.
Yeah, we've mentioned in the past how the third baseman on the left side of the infield will be busy when Pettit's on the mound. I guess we're going to have to throw in the third base coach too.
Got to be alert.
There's a look at the Yankees defensively straight away. Batista leads at second. Got that ball down a little bit more, and a swing and a miss by Graffinino. 0-2.
Just reading the Braves hitters tonight, it appears that Andy Pettitte has one of his best cutters, one of his better cutters. It seems to break later and sharper than in his previous starts.
Atlanta with 7 hits off Andy Pettitte. The Yankees with 9 off of Greg Maddux. He wouldn't bite on that one. The count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. You know, last year's series, as we look at Gerald Williams on deck, 3-game series here at Yankee Stadium between these two clubs. The Braves won 2 out of 3, but each team hit only .223 during that series. So it was a series of good pitching. This year might be the hitter's turn.
Yeah. Finding out about each other.
Again, just behind Bobby Dew's foul. That cutter.
Yeah, it's a good spot. That's what it's designed to do. Is if the hitter's going to hit it, the only thing he can do is pull it foul.
Here's our Affleck trivia quiz. Which manager has won the most postseason games?
And now with the extra level of playoffs, some of the managers, you know, in past years where you just had the World Series, you can bypass them.
Here's a candidate.
Yep. Note in the Yankee bullpen as Pettitte steps off, just right-hander Jeff Nelson throwing. Pettitte will stay in to face Gerald Williams. And you mentioned Chipper Jones, a much better hitter from the left side of the plate. They're not going to bring Nelson in with all those left-hand hitters they've got on the bench until they get down to Galarraga.
And plus, you keep the right-handed hitter like Jones hitting to the bigger part of the ballpark. Strike 3. We had to wait on Tim McClellan, and so did Tony Graffinino. He's headed back to the dugout as Andy Pettitte, after all those pitches inside, had made that outside corner look like it was a mile away.
Yeah, that's a nice job by Girardi and Pettitte. And they're taking advantage of the wide strike zone. Several inches off the outside corner. Neither manager particularly happy with Tim McClellan's strike zone. It's been in favor of the pitchers, but it's been consistent the entire game.
It's Pettitte's first strikeout since he struck out Graffinino in the 5th inning. Now a little discussion between Girardi and Pettitte, and it certainly concerns Gerald Williams, who has struck out, doubled, and singled.
And probably concerns the first pitch. Gerald loves to chase anything that's close on the first pitch.
It's hard to chase that one. Moved him back a bit, and it's ball 1.
Probably concerned that too, as well as he's hit off Andy Pettitte. Joe Girardi might say, how you want to go at him? Let's change our pattern. We haven't been doing it right so far.
Here's ball 2, 2-0. August of '96, Gerald Williams and Bob Wickman went to the Brewers for Graham Lloyd and Pat Listash. When Gerald Williams got to the Brewers, he promptly went 0 for 20. Just a little outside, 3 balls and no strikes. It looks like they're not taking any chances with Gerald Williams, but you have Chipper Jones on deck, who
you better peek in the on-deck circle. No disrespect to Gerald Williams, but you'd much rather go after him than that guy.
.3-0 pitch, and Bobby Cox turned him loose.
Surprise, surprise.
Guy on deck has almost 60 runs batted in with 59.
Yeah, unless Gerald misread a sign.
Bobby at this point doesn't look too upset, so
yeah, probably figures as well as Gerald has hit against Pettitte, he's going to get a fastball, give him a shot at it.
I don't think he'll get a fastball here. Better look Cutter City right here. 3 balls and a strike, 2 outs, and a runner on second. There's a series of signs. Here's your cutter, and it swung on and missed. Strike 2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Andy Pettitte trying to fight his way back here in the top of the 7th.
You called it, Kenny, a good cutter, and here's where you can really take advantage of Gerald Williams' anxiety. Anything close, off speed, he's going to be eager to swing like he was there.
Well, the fans getting into this payoff pitch here at the top of the 7th. Swung on, hit down the left field line. It's going to twist, foul. That's what I mean. That ball is very tough to keep fair. You get the head out, you're going to pull it foul.
It's another breaking ball down and in, and as so many of them are by design, they're down and in where the only thing the hitter can do is pull it foul.
Once again, the applause from the fans, and once again, the payoff pitch here in the 7th inning. Tapped, foul. Anything close. That looked like it might have been ball 4. Bobby Cox, who at one time played third base for the Yankees. Well, the Yankee fans hoping that the third time is a charm with the third 3-2 pitch to Gerald Williams. And it's inside for ball 4. So that'll put a couple of runners aboard for Chipper Jones. Only the second walk charged to Andy Pettitte. He walked Ozzie Guillen in the 3rd inning.
And I don't think I've seen Joe Torre squirm on the bench very often this year, but he did after that pitch. I know he did not want Pettitte walking Gerald Williams, even though first base was open, to get to this man.
Chipper Jones, we mentioned his ability to drive in runs. The first Braves third baseman to have back-to-back 100 RBIs in a season since Eddie Matthews. Here's a ball 1.
Now you get selfish if you're Andy Pettitte, because you say, if I don't get this guy out, I'm out of the ball game. He's not going to be in there to face Galarraga, so this is his ball game right here to stay in it.
2 on and 2 outs. There's ball 2.
Here's what scouts look at, Kenny, when they hand charts to pitchers, hot zone and cold zone. And that tells you that Chipper Jones likes the ball out over the plate about belt high. Most hitters do, and he likes it down. So from that little color chart, it looks like you want to pitch him hard and in.
2-0 count. Swing and a miss. That was right in that up and in zone.
They might have a monitor down there. They're watching that hot cold zone. A bit of a flat cutter. Looked like a cutter. It was flat, but it was up. And Jones, according to that chart, handles the ball down better than he does the ball up as a right-hand hitter.
Swing and a miss on a cutter. Things are even at 2-2.
Swung over it again.
Yep. Each team trying to make a statement in this opening game of what will be a 4-game series. 2 at Yankee Stadium, 2 in Atlanta. Big crowds, north and south. Swung on, rolled towards the hole. It's a base hit. Batista's going to score from second, and the Braves retake the lead. It's 4-3. And Chipper Jones has RBI number 60 on the season.
Well placed. It's a ball that we're accustomed to see Scott Brocious dive at or knock down. And Don't know if the ball was just hit too hard. You see, he stops right there. Says, I can't get it. Maybe Jeter can. Just perfectly placed and hit sharply. They wanted it inside. Let's see if he got it in far enough. No, it was down in one of those zones where Chipper Jones likes it.
Well, that's going to do it for Andy Pettitte. He leaves with 2 outs. Here in the top of the 7th, the Braves have taken the lead at 4-3. We'll be back.
New Citibank PC Banking. It's free and you get $25. Call 1-800-377-5237. Who says a bank can't rock and roll?
Today, we could be part of someone's wedding. Tomorrow, we could help Lisa Powell win a new account. This evening, we might bring sweethearts together. Because every day, every one of us is personally involved in connecting every one of you to your reason for flying. And we all have the same reason for doing it well. You. Delta Airlines, on top of the world.
One less person stuck in a meeting. One less person caught in traffic. One less person put on hold. One more human being more human. Achieve New Balance.
Bob's, the place for New Balance.
Score with 2 outs in the 7th. Score with 2 outs in the 7th. Atlanta leading 4-3. Well, tomorrow the Yankees and the Braves will continue their battle for Major League supremacy right here in the Bronx. That's the start at 7:30 on MSG. Then on Wednesday, this interleague matchup heads south. The Bombers invade Atlanta for another showdown with the high-powered Atlanta Braves. Catch great Yankees coverage this week on MSG. Be sure and check your local listings. Checking the mound now, it's Jeff Nelson in to do the pitching. His 35th appearance of the year. And you'll see the numbers. 18 walks and 32 2/3, 25 strikeouts, 42 hits allowed by Jeff Nelson.
And is the case when these two teams get together, most of the matchups are first timers. This is the first time that Galarraga will get a look at Nelson. That could be interesting to him when he sees that side wheeling curveball at 6'8".
I mentioned the Braves on pace to set a team record for home runs. They hit 207 as we look at the crowd. An excellent crowd. I would guess somewhere over 40,000 here at the stadium tonight.
Yeah, there's only a couple of sections that are completely empty, so should be maybe in the 45 range.
2 on and 2 out for Galarraga. The big cat, 25 homers, 67 runs batted in. Up and in for a ball. I mentioned the 207 home runs back in 1966. Joe Torre had a career high in home runs that year for Atlanta. He hit 36 home runs for the Braves. Hank Aaron led the team in homers. In fact, led the league with 44. Hit his number. 1-0 pitch, and it hits the big cat. Galarraga hit by Jeff Nelson. You can see he's trying to keep the ball in, and that's going to load the bases with 2 down.
Your attention, please. Will sit Holmes.
Joe Torre knows there's nowhere to go now with the bases loaded and Javi Lopez coming to the plate.
9th time this year that Galarraga has been hit, and one of the reasons is from that open stance he steps right into the ball, and this is how it sounded.
Well, the big cat is now at first base. People ahead of him at second and third. Pitch to Javi Lopez. The breaking ball drops in for a strike. Lopez picked up an RBI with a single in the 6th inning. Two outs. Here in the top of the 7th. Looks like Jeff Nelson is having problems locating the fastball. He threw only one breaking ball since he's come in, and he got it over for a strike.
Been bothered a little bit by a strain in his lower back, but Joe Torre and Jeff Nelson say when he gets enough time to loosen up, it doesn't appear to bother him while he's pitching.
Breaking ball is fouled off again, and once again he gets it over the plate for a strike, and Lopez has to swing at it. Javi Lopez, signed by the Braves, signed by Jorge Posada, the father of the Yankees catcher Jorge Posada,
who is now scouting for the Rockies.
Yeah, that's correct. But you can tell he knows his catchers when he sees them. 1-2 the count on Lopez. Breaking ball rolled towards Knobloch at second, goes a short way to Jeter for the force on Galarraga. And the Braves are finally retired here in the top of the 7th inning, but Andy Pettitte has given up a run, and the Braves are taking the lead. 7th inning stretch time at the stadium.
The most award-winning brand of
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers. We were kind of surprised to see Greg Maddux leave, and he'll give way to the veteran. El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, comes in out of the bullpen. You mentioned he's been the closer for Atlanta. I wonder if he's going to close with a 3-inning stint tonight. He's going to have to if he's going to get a save.
Well, it's a big plus for the Yankees here. Bobby Cox knows his staff better than we do. Greg Maddux threw just 87 pitches. But with a 1-run lead, he goes to Martinez. He also has young right-hander Kelly Lightenberg and a hard-throwing lefty in Alan Embry. But it's not been the strongest part of this Braves ball club for a number of years. I think Martinez could, because, you know, being a starter, they give him a little more time to warm up down there. So he treats this as if he's starting a ball game and has to pitch 3 innings.
Well, Presidente with that now familiar windup. As we look at the backdrop of the full Yankee Stadium. Our Aflac trivia quiz tonight: which manager has won the most postseason games?
Just playing a hunch, you would guess that he's in the ballpark, one or the other, and he is. One of the other candidates would have been Tony La Russa, because now with Division Series and playoffs and World Series. But Bobby Cox has had a remarkable career as a manager and an executive, starting with his days in Toronto.
Well, we have El Duque in the park. We have El Presidente.
You've seen Dennis since day one.
Day one, yeah.
His motion, to me, it doesn't seem like it's varied a lot. He always had a leg kick like that and a good overhand curveball.
That was his best pitch. Had really one of the better curves in the league, and had a pretty good fastball. The years have robbed him of velocity, and then coming off an arm injury, but has always wanted to break Juan Marichel's record as he faces Knobloch, and the first pitch is a strike. That record being 243 wins, tied with Marichel for the most victories by a pitcher from Latin America.
You see him tuck the leg and hide the ball. He really turns the back. That enables him to generate a lot of leverage, and obviously makes it difficult for the hitter to pick up.
Drops down, a little sidearm on that pitch. El Presidente and El Duque.
Yeah, we'll see El Duque tomorrow night.
Dennis now 43 years old and a grandfather. Just up a little high to Knobloch for a ball. Dennis, this is his 21st season in Major League Baseball. There's our Toyota's Yankee box score. Knobloch with a hit. Top of the order for the Yankees now. Followed by Jeter and O'Neill. Breaking ball, Knobloch. Did he swing? No, says John Hirschbeck. Well, Knobloch will stay up there at least for another pitch.
And in those 21 seasons, you can see how Dennis Martinez has learned how to pitch. 0-2 count, just missed with the fastball, and almost got Knobloch to commit on that breaking ball. 2 perfect pitches when you're ahead in the count like that.
Now the count is run full. Martinez made his Major League debut back in 1976 with the Orioles. Went 1-2 that year. Been a 16-game winner a couple of times, but never more than 16. Pitch to Knobloch is laced foul down the right field side.
But psychologically, I think this is a big boost for the Yankees. Even though they're down 1, they had to be thinking we're down 1 and Maddox for at least 2 more innings. And no disrespect to Dennis Martinez, but if you're Chuck Knobloch in the Yankee lineup, you like your chances better against that bullpen than you do against Greg Maddux.
They might not have said that about 10-15 years
No.
ago. Payoff pitch, and it's low, ball 4. Knobloch has drawn a leadoff walk, and he represents the tying run here in the bottom of the 7th. And there goes Leo Mazzoni to the phone.
Now some left-hand hitters coming up in O'Neill and Martinez and Strawberry, switch hitter, and Tim Raines. So you could look for one of those Atlanta lefties, Rocker or Embry.
Well, we'll see how Joe Torre wants to play it. With Jeter coming to the plate, does he allow Knobloch to steal? Did they bunt? Dennis Martinez. We saw David Wells pitch a perfect game this year here at the stadium. Dennis Martinez pitched one in 1991 for the Montreal Expos against the Dodgers. There's the bunt attempt, and Jeter bunts through it for strike 1.
Might turn out to be a plus for the Yankees, missing the bunt. You see Knobloch starts to commit towards second, but of course with Galarraga charging, there's no one there. If Jeter does bunt, you're going to take the bat out of one of the left-handers' hands, either O'Neill or Martinez. So maybe Derek was just showing bunt. Now he'll turn around and swing away.
There's that toss to first to see if the hitter will commit. Galarraga, one of the better fielding first basemen. Rocker and Cather. Jeter lays down the bunt. The throw will go to second for the force out. And it did look like the ball might have hit Jeter in the box.
That's what Joe Torre's going to argue with. And maybe Mike Riley, the third base umpire, will be called in. Tim McClellan saying, from my position, I couldn't see it. Now he's going to check with the other umpires. John Hirschbeck at first. It did appear that that ball came down in the box. Mike Riley has already called it, and you know that's going to bring Bobby Cox out.
And there he is. You know, Mike Riley, after the play was laid down and Joe Torre came out, Mike Riley started in from his third base position, which tells me he saw the ball hit Jeter.
Here's what Mike Riley saw that Tim McClellan couldn't. In the batter's box in foul territory, it hopped up and hit him in the knee. Very clearly. And obviously Tim McClellan couldn't see that from that spot.
Yep, there he goes. Bobby Cox thrown out by Mike Riley. You know, you think about it, I wonder if American League umpires have less patience with National League in this interleague play and vice versa.
Well, the umpires have been around long and they know Bobby Cox from his days in the American League, but I think here Mike Riley knows he's right. When Bobby Cox came out, you could read his lips and say, Bobby, I saw it. It hit him in the foot.
I mentioned that because got word that Bobby Valentine got thrown out in Baltimore tonight. So maybe it's a one-for-one deal.
One more look at it. Very clearly hit Derek Jeter in foul territory in the batter's box. In that left knee.
One last appeal.
Got his money's worth.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Bobby's been around a long time. You know, the thing about it, as good a record as both the Braves and the Yankees have lately, they haven't been playing that well.
Bobby Cox addressed that before the game. They lost 2 out of 3 to Montreal. The Yankees have lost 4 of their last 7.
Jeter's up there now with a count of 0-2. Knobloch still at first base with nobody out. In the dirt, scooped up by Perez. The throw to first, and a diving Knobloch is back safely.
Nice quick actions by Eddie Perez. And Knobloch gets the hand back in plenty of time.
You know, when you have that good fielding first baseman down there, the catchers know it too.
You can just throw it down there.
Oh,
It will.
yeah. Galarrago snatch it. Two balls, 2 strikes on Derek Jeter. That's not bad. 4 for 9 with a home run.
That was his first home run in his career when Dennis Martinez was a starter for the Cleveland Indians.
There's a toss to first that will chase Knobloch back. Dennis Martinez giving up a couple. He gave one to Jose Offerman. That was his first major league homer. Crowd with the chant of "Let's go Yankees." Jeter swings, hits a ball in the air down the right field line. It's plenty deep. If it's fair, it is trouble. It is a foul ball. John Hirschbeck, the first base umpire, with a long look, and it was just a few weeks ago that Derek Jeter hit a ball off the foul pole for a homer.
He doesn't surprise us anymore with his strength. I mean, that was a defensive 2-strike swing. Another look at it, but he is so strong with that wiry strength that he drives this ball deep enough to be a home run. Just foul.
Pitch is hit in the air, and coming on is Andrew Jones. Plenty of speed, and he corrals it for the out, and Knobloch's going to have to retreat to first base. I think the ball got in on the hands of Jeter just enough to make the ball hang up. It wasn't really driven or scalded towards left center.
After that pitch to the right field line on the outside pitch, they come back and just tie Derek up. You see the hands well inside. He can't get those arms extended. Even though Andrew Jones was playing him in right center field, he got over there quickly enough to make the catch.
One out, and here's Paul O'Neill's had a couple of hits, a run batted in, and a stolen base. There was a toss to first. I mentioned Martinez came up with Baltimore, moved on to Montreal for some successful years, then to Cleveland, Seattle, and now here with the Atlanta Braves, who invited him to spring training. And he almost didn't make the ball club. There's ball 1 outside. In fact, his first 2 starts he got hammered. And the Braves thought, well, we'll give him one more chance. And he pitched well the next time. Then the regular season started. Got hammered his first 2 starts. They almost let him go. They pitched him in relief. Pitched well in relief. Outside, ball 2.
Kenny gives you an idea of the difference in the 2 bullpens. Most American League teams right now would have a left-hander coming on to face O'Neill and Martinez, but Bobby Cox obviously not the confidence in John Rocker or Alan Embry to come in and get O'Neill and Martinez out.
O'Neill fouls, a pretty good pitch to hit off. The count goes to 2-1.
Or his thinking might be, hey, Dennis Martinez been around 21 years. He's faced thousands of left-hand hitters. I'm confident he can do the job.
We were speaking of the bullpen. We were talking to Pete Van Wieren, longtime Braves broadcaster, and he mentioned that Embry is the only one in the bullpen that was there last year.
Yeah.
So they've completely revamped their bullpen, with Mark Wohlers being sent to the minor leagues to work on his control. Throw to first, and Knobloch is back standing up. Wohlers was injured early in the year, came off the disabled list, and couldn't get the ball over the plate. And so they said it was really ugly, throwing balls back to the screen, in the dirt, behind hitters. So he's down at minors working on his mechanics with some brave instructors. Ball 3, 3 balls and a strike.
Nice hitting count right here. You can see Paul O'Neill have a little talk with himself after that pitch. I think, as you've talked before, from a hitter's standpoint, he wants it to be in his little rectangular box where he likes it. Maybe down and in. If it's not there, he's going to let it pass.
Plenty of speed at first in Knobloch. Pitches high for ball 4, and Knobloch can trot to second as O'Neill heads to first. So the Yankees have moved the tying run into scoring position, and the go-ahead run is at first base. 2 walks this inning by Dennis Martinez.
And Rocker heating up a little quicker in the Atlanta bullpen. Greg Maddux was touched for 9 hits, but he will not beat himself with base on balls, and that's what's giving the Yankees a chance to take over the lead right now is the walks.
There's Knobloch at second. And O'Neill at first, both on via the base on balls. And here's Tino Martinez. Got a base hit and RBI in the 3rd inning. 1 for 3. Pitch to the corner. Movement on the fastball and strike 1. 7 for 18 with a home run off of Dennis Martinez. Here's a look at the Braves defensively. Another good pitch, and the count goes 0-2.
53,316 umpires didn't see it that way. That's how many people are here tonight. What a crowd.
Set up pitches outside, 1-2. Knobloch at second. O'Neill at first. The Yankees threatening here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The crowd is alive here at the stadium. Over 53,000. Breaking ball is fouled back, hung up there just a little as Tino had a good cut at it. A ball and 2 strikes.
That looked like one of those pitches that you tell me every at bat you get at least 1 pitch you can drive, and Tino just had his right there. Looked like a hanging curveball you referred to, and he just fouled it straight back.
Dennis Martinez, who many thought was finished when he was released by Seattle last year. I saw him at the World Series. He said, I'm going to try and come back one more time, and here he is. Hit hard just in front of Jose Cardinal and foul down the first base side. You know, I saw Dennis at the World Series, and he mentioned, he said, my arm's feeling a lot better. I think I'm going to try it again. I said, Dennis, I know how much he wanted to get that record that Juan Marichal has. He's tied with him now for the most wins by a Latin American pitcher. And he wasn't kidding. He said the money's not important.
He enjoys the competition.
Yeah, and he wanted the record so badly, and he said his arm felt better. He came to spring training. Hit hard a few times in the spring, but the Braves, every time it seemed like they were ready to let him go, he came through. A case of dance fever breaks out, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Just doesn't have the power that he had in the days that you and Dennis were teammates, and that's the reason as Tino has to skip a rope. You see him trying to make that perfect pitch on the corner. Can't quite challenge him with his natural stuff like he did in his younger days.
Count is run full at 3-2. Yeah, he was the guy that, remember the Boston Red Sox lineups of 20 years ago? I mean, with Yastrzemski and Boomer Scott. No, all of it. He was the guy that went into Fenway and shut those guys down. Full count with 1 out. Crowd on their feet here at the stadium. Payoff pitch. Swung on and popped up. Drifting back is Graffinino to the grass. Makes the catch for the 2nd out. So El Presidente gets Tino Martinez out with a curveball. And here's the reaction of Tino on the bench. That's out number 2 as Tim Raines will come to the plate.
Well, persistent is Dennis Martinez. Keeps coming with the breaking ball, and that's the reason you saw Tino kind of slam the helmet down. He had a hanging pitch, almost hung it in a zone there. It was too good. It was just high enough where he got under it and popped it up, but a very hittable pitch.
Former teammates now squaring off. Raines and Martinez with the Montreal Expos. Raines fouls the first pitch off, doubled his last at bat, scored the Yankees' third run in the 6th inning.
I should probably explain that. He hung as a pitcher, and you know from a hitter standpoint, you get a hanging breaking ball about belt high, it goes 450 feet, but you'll hang one about shoulder high or neck high, and that's just where they can't get at it, and they pop it up. That's what happened to Tino on that last one.
The runners are aboard for Raines. That'll make it a ball and a strike. Martinez had the crackling curve, the fastball, and low mid-90s at one time.
And look at the Atlanta outfield with the speed of Batista and Jones and Gerald Williams, how shallow they can play.
That one hung just a little bit high for a ball, 2-1. Leo, one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, but I don't know how you can do that for 9 innings. Night in and night out.
Keeps his spine limber, doesn't he?
Yeah. Nervous energy all over the stadium. Tried to check a swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did, says Tim McCullen. He called it himself. 2-2 on Raines.
Again, the Yankee left-hand hitters aren't seeing many fastballs to hit. That's a pitch when Tim Raines was ahead in the count. Might have been sitting on a fastball, and that nice late breaking curveball. He couldn't check in time.
Well, we can see what the out pitch is for Dennis Martinez. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Raines. Pitch is hit in the air to center field. Jones turns the wrong way, has good speed. It's over his head into the wall. Knobloch will score. O'Neill is being waved home. A double for Raines. It's 5-4 Yankees. The difference is in the pen. Tim Raines, veteran against veteran.
And maybe underestimating the power of Tim Raines. Andrew Jones with that shallow position. Full out, there's no way he can catch up with that one. Playing about 10 steps deeper, he does. You see that ball out over the plate where Raines could get all of his arms as well as the barrel of the bat extended and drive it to the deepest part of the ballpark. Jones, a quick check, looks up, sees he can't get it, and has to chase it to the wall.
That is the Yankees' first hit this inning, and they scored 2 runs as the base on balls both score. Somebody's in a hurry to get into this ball game. So far, Raines is a hero. We'll be back. Here's a look at the smile of Tim Raines after driving 2 runs. The Yankees lead at 5-4. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Some exciting action between these 2 teams once again as the Braves take on the Yankees in the second and final game of this 2-game series. Our New York City Marriott's Yankee scorecard will, of course, begin at 7 o'clock, half hour before game time. And one of the features that you'll see tomorrow, Al Trautwig has put together a nice piece on the man who just hit his second double of the ball game and put the Yankees ahead. So a nice feature on Tim Raines as he talks it over with a former teammate of his, Ozzie Guillen, both with the Whites, former teammates everywhere for Raines.
Yeah, he's been around, and now Ozzie Guillen getting around. As part of that revamped Atlanta bullpen we talked about, Kenny, John Rocker, just 23 years old, a hard thrower, not exceptional control, a lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts.
Well, last year he pitched in A ball and then in Double-A at Greenville for the Braves. And he'll face the pinch hitter as Darryl Strawberry's night is done. Darryl drove in a run with a single in the 6th inning. It's going to be Jorge Posada. There's a look at El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, who just gave up 1 hit but a couple runs. Posada takes a pitch for a call strike from Rocker.
Hey, Rocker's got a little bit of Scott Radinsky and Craig Lefferts. Radinsky, ex-White Sox, now with the Dodgers. Lefferts used to pitch with the Padres, came sprinting out of the bullpen and Aptly named. He rocks and fires, John Rocker.
One of those left-handed deliveries. Big, tall lefty, 6'4". Pitches upstairs for a ball. Also has maybe the hat he's wearing. Look like a lot of salt stains on it.
Got it. Maybe John Wetland mailed it to him.
There's a look at Raines at second. Posada's first at bat of the night. 259, 8 homers, 25 runs batted in. As he takes over as the designated hitter. Big swing and a miss. Looked like a cutter.
Yeah, good live one. The stuff is there, obviously. That's why the Braves have made the move, changing their bullpen because of some injuries and some ineffectiveness. It's just a question if Rocker can throw it over the plate often enough.
Well, the big left-hander as Raines leads at second with 2 down. Big left-hander, a native of Georgia, born in Statesboro, but makes his home in Macon. That's going all the way back to the screen, and Raines can just trot over to third base. A very wild pitch. That's Pat Corrales sitting next to Leo Mazzoni. Check out this pitch with Eddie Perez couldn't handle.
Yeah, even a good catcher like Eddie Perez, that broke in there so quickly he didn't even get a chance to shift his body on it.
Now, if you're hitting and you're Posada, 2 balls, 2 strikes, kind of tells you might not see another one of those cutters down and in. You might see something a little bit more handleable with a runner at third base. Fastball, there it is. It's upstairs, ball 3, 3-2. Eddie Perez might be a little reluctant to call a breaking ball now with Tim Raines stationed over at third base. Chad Curtis, a right-handed hitter on deck for Mr. Rocker. Payoff pitch on the way to Posada. And it's sliced foul to the seats. And the count will remain 3 balls and 2 strikes. In the Braves organization, there's Mike Stanton pacing. Looks like he's already warmed up and ready to go. A lot of prospects down there. AA, AAA.
Got that left-hander's nervous energy, doesn't he?
Pitch to Posada, fouled back. He could have been looking at Jim Cott years ago.
Well, he's got he's bigger frame, but he's got actions like Steve Avery, the ex-Atlanta Brave, now pitching for the Boston Red Sox.
Well, he's thrown a couple of strikes here, 3-2. Look at him fidgeting with the ball in the glove. Can they call that a balk? Pitches high, and Posada's drawn a walk. You see that, Kitty, how he holds the ball kind of in and out of the glove?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't move the arms and the glove. If he just moves that ball around in there. In fact, the Cleveland was complaining about El Duque doing that in her Orlando Hernandez start. Leo Mazzoni now out of the bullpen with Bobby Cox being injected. See him fidgeting with the hand in the glove, but he hasn't really started his pitching motion. Now he has. Yeah, Greg Maddux does something a little similar. He kind of flips the ball around in his hand. And with Bobby Cox out of the game, Leo Mazzoni is making the pitching changes, and I think we'll see Mike Cather come here in to face Chad Curtis with the bases loaded.
Well, the Yankees have gotten 3 walks from the Braves bullpen this inning. As Mike Cather comes on, stay tuned. Fans get in on the action here. We'll remind you that this copyrighted telecast is authorized on the rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproductions, retransmissions, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is, of course, prohibited.
Another example, Kenny, what the Yankees are trying to, or the Braves are trying to find out in that bullpen. Mike Cather signed originally with the Texas Rangers out of Cal Berkeley, and then the Braves pick him up as a minor league free agent. He's done a decent job. You see his numbers. Side wheeler, particularly tough on right-hand hitters.
He's got one here in Chad Curtis, who is 2 for 3 on the night. You know, I suspect that the Braves continue to have problems with their bullpen. That as we get near the trade deadline, Atlanta will make a move to get their bullpen straightened out before the playoffs begin. Runners at the corners for the Yankees with 2 outs. They have scored a couple of runs on a double by Tim Raines to take the lead away from the Braves and lead it 5-4, trying to add some more. Raines is now over at third base. Move over there on a wild pitch. Jorge Posada, pinch hitting for Strawberry, drew a walk.
That's right. I had so many base runners this inning. I thought they were loaded, but they're just at the corners. Tim Raines getting that double kind of rewards Joe Torre. He was in the lineup tonight instead of Ricky Leday because he wanted a veteran against Greg Maddux, and it's paid off for Joe.
There's a call strike. The Braves scored 2 in the third. The Yankees answered with 2 in their half of the inning. The Braves took the lead in the 6th. The Yankees promptly tied it up with a run in their half of the 6th. The Braves scored in the 7th. The Yankees came right back and took the lead. As the pitch is outside. 2 balls and a strike on Chad Curtis. The Yankees, with 2 here in the 7th, have taken a lead at 5-4. In fact, the first time in the game that the Yankees have actually led. Curtis swings over the top, and that will leave him the count at 2-2.
Jorge Posada, not what you think of as a base stealing threat, but with runners at the corners, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Jose is going to walk over there. He might just take off. Yankees tried that play earlier in the ball game.
He'll be going now with the count 3-2 and 2 down. You know, Curtis's approach last time against Maddux when he went the other way paid off well. He hit a shot over the head of right fielder Gerald Williams. But if we saw in that previous swing against Cather, he tried to pull the ball and was way out in front. Pitch is topped down to third base line. It's going to go foul.
Like that one. Even the out he made tonight, Kenny, at the first at bat against Greg Maddux was a ground out to second base. So you can almost see by the Yankee at bats tonight against the great right-hander that Chris Chambliss says don't try to pull this guy. Take him the other way. And Curtis has done a good job of it and got rewarded by getting 2 base hits.
Could Chambliss hit you the other way?
He could hit me anywhere.
He could hit. Once again, the payoff pitch is on the way. And slow roller down third. Going to be a tough play for Chipper Jones. No play. The Yankees have another run. Raines scores, and it's 6-4. An infield single for Chad Curtis, his 3rd hit of the night, and he picks up a run batted in. Well, there's where the wild pitch comes into play.
Good things happen when you make contact. A good sinker ball pitcher in Cather, but Curtis with great speed. Jones picks it and plays it as well as he can. Might have had a better chance at getting Tim Raines at home, but he scores standing up, give the Yankees a 2-run cushion.
Raines and Soho celebrate the 2-run Yankee lead. 2 men on. Scott Brosius looking for his first hit of the night. It's a high fly ball left center field, pretty deep. Going back is Jones, and so is the left fielder Bautista, who makes the catch. Deep left center field. Well, the Yankees rally for 3 runs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The big hit. Veteran Tim Raines with a double that drove in 2. We head to the 8th. The Yankees lead it. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Nissan, #1 in the metropolitan area. Thanks, New York.
Well, Kenny, the Yankees got things exactly the way they want them right now. Joe Torre has the better of the 2 bullpens. He got good offensive production from Tim Raines. Now he can put Ricky Leday in left field. Give him a little better fielder out in that vast area of Yankee Stadium. Jeff Nelson will stay on, and Joe Torre will force Bobby Cox's hand. If Cox goes to his bench and starts to bring up Ryan Klesko and Keith Lockhart and Michael Tucker, then you'll see Mike Stanton in the game. As Klesko waits on the Braves bench, he'll be in there tomorrow night against El Duque. Here's Andrew Jones to face Jeff Nelson as we head to the top of the 8th. The Yankees now lead it by a pair. In for a strike. Neither pitcher pitched poorly, but yet it did not live up to the low-scoring duel that we anticipated. Greg Maddux gave up more base runners than he has since the start against the Rockies in April. Jones waves through the breaking ball. It's 0-2. 9 base runners.
Well, the sweeping breaking ball followed by a sweeping helicopter type swing. It doesn't connect. Yeah, why
Got
not?
him again. Well, that's one thing the Braves know in 21-year-old Andrew Jones. They have a talented player, but undisciplined yet at the plate. And Nelson puts him away on 3 breaking balls.
Well, Andrew Jones, we just saw Sidney Ponson of the Orioles last week, and he's from Aruba. And Andrew Jones from that part of the world. Curacao. Yeah.
I asked him, I said, who'd you play against when you were a kid? Now the left-hander Tucker is announced, and Joe Torre will go to his bullpen and bring in Mike Stanton. I said, who did you play against down there? He said, we had 3-4 leagues. We're playing baseball all the time. And it shows. He's got some talent. Jeff Nelson with a good job. Strikes out Jones to start the 8th. And now Mike Stanton will come on to take over the pitching with 1 down in the 8th, and the Yankees lead it by a pair. Back on MSG after this. 6-4 Yankees, top of the 8th inning with 1 out. Jeff Nelson did his job. Mike Stanton takes over now. We want to remind you upcoming games here the Yankees have at the stadium. Tomorrow the Braves will be here at 7:30. Orlando Hernandez, El Duque against Tom Glavine. And then next week the Phillies, who just defeated the Red Sox tonight. They're really playing great baseball. A game over 500. They got some exciting young players. Last year's Rookie of the Year and Scott Rowland. They'll be in for 3 games. Kurt Schilling should pitch 1 of those 3. And then the Orioles, who just took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, will be at the stadium July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Tickets available at the ticket windows, Ticketmaster, clubhouse stores, and on the web. Mike Stanton's pitching line this year, perfect 3-0 with 5 saves. And 5 years ago, speaking of saves, he saved 27 games for these Atlanta Braves. He was their closer. Combination of arm problems and control problems that caused the Braves, I think, to lose a little confidence in him. Here's Michael Tucker, the find he's been for them.
I think one thing they have to be aware of is the fact that Michael Tucker has good speed. He might try and lay one down with the Braves down by 2 just to get himself on base against a left-handed pitcher.
Just prior to the start of last season, as you see how the Yankees aligned themselves in the field, the Braves picked up Tucker and Keith Lockhart from Kansas City for Jermaine Dye and Jamie Walker. That pitch misses for a ball. I'll never forget, Kenny, I think we were in the ballpark down in Tampa when we said, I mean, Michael Tucker wasn't even playing in Kansas City. And said to Bobby Cox, well, what's he going to do on your ball club? He said, oh, he can play. He's going to play regular. And he certainly did. So the Brave scouts knew what they were doing there. 2-0 to Tucker.
Scouts are the lifeblood of an organization, whether you're drafting young high schoolers and college players or making deals.
2-1.
And we've seen how they help out in advanced scouts. You know, it's very important in these interleague series because you don't see these guys.
No.
Advanced scouts really play a role.
Fouled straight back. In fact, Bobby Cox, not that they are complacent about this series, but he said we didn't go into a lot of reports and head into the Yankee series as if it were the World Series. We were worried about Montreal. They just started looking at things when they got here at the stadium today. So again, it's a fans treat, the interleague play. The manager, coaches, and players don't particularly feel that way. Fouled out of play. Tucker stays alive.
They better go over those reports again because the Expos won that series.
Yeah.
It's the first time that they have beaten the Braves in a series in a number of years.
Batista waiting on deck. Tucker, the former #1 draft pick of the Kansas City Royals back in 1992. They had high hopes for him. Good breaking ball, and it's looped out into right field. Paul O'Neill's right there, 2 down.
And you're talking about scouts being the lifeblood of organizations. You see some organizations cutting back on their scouting. That's like cutting your own throat, if you ask me.
Cincinnati found that out. They used to have a great scouting system and a great farm system.
And you see teams like the Braves and the Yankees going worldwide in their scouting because, you know, with more teams, you have to find the players somewhere.
Panama Cuba,
Curacao,
Japan.
Australia.
He'll pitch the 9th, loosening up Mariano Rivera as Batista hits this sharply to Tino Martinez. Unassisted put out. Stanton does his job. Again, the Yankees the better of the bullpens, and it's showing here tonight. 2-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th. A little bit out there in the far reaches of the right field stands as Girardi takes ball 1 from Mike Cather.
Javi Lopez, no longer the designated hitter. That means the Braves pitcher is going to have to hit. Lopez is now the catcher.
Tapped out over the mound where Guillen makes the off-balance pick and throw to Galarraga in time. 1 down.
Michael Tucker will stay in the ball game and he'll play out in right field. And Gerald Williams, who had been in right field, has now moved over to the other side. He's out in left field,
where he's quite familiar from having played there during his Yankee days. That walk in the middle of Chuck Knobloch's hitting line was a big one. Dennis Martinez walked a pair. Tim Raines doubled. Knocked them both in. That gave the Yankees the lead as he takes strike 1. If you joined us late, it was billed as a pitcher's duel between Greg Maddux and Andy Pettitte. We looked for a low-scoring affair. Tap foul at the plate. Maddux didn't walk anybody. Yankees touched him up for 9 hits. Andy Pettitte pitched well. It was one throwing error that he made at second base. The error you see on your screen. And a couple of walks of his own, or he would have been in position to get this win. But again, it came down to a battle of the bullpens. And when you analyze these 2 ball clubs, the Braves first in the National League in home runs, great starting pitching, first in defense. But it has been the bullpen, and that's where Joe Torre and the Yankees are a notch above most any other team in baseball. He would stand to get the loss. El Presidente, Dennis Martinez. Got him. Good sweeping breaking ball. And Kenny, just to make that point, these 2 teams score at least 4 runs more than any team in baseball. Now the Braves have 4 runs on the board tonight. That's 55 times they have done that. But their winning percentage is not as high as the Yankees. The Yankees have done it 53 times. If the Yankees hang on and win tonight, they'll be 45-8. And the Braves would be 42-13. And it's a small difference, but it's the difference that points out how well the Yankees hold the lead when they get it. Jeter with 2 out. Grounded toward third, but foul. Derek and Knobloch have each scored a run tonight. See, Knobloch has scored a pair, so between them they have 106 runs scored. The top combo in all of baseball is at the corners for the Atlanta Braves. Andres Galarraga and Chipper Jones. They have scored 122 runs between the 2 of them. That's tops in the major leagues.
Yeah, but the difference is they put the ball out of the park. And
they trot around.
Yeah, they do.
Popped up infield. Chipper Jones is there. And Mike Cather pitches a very effective 8th inning. But the Braves are down to their last chance, and Mariano Rivera will come in to try to save it for the Yankees. 6-4 Yankees. Back on MSG after this. Yankees take a 2-run lead to the top of the 9th inning. And we remind you that for all the latest news, scores, and highlights from the world of sports, all the interleague action tonight, you can tune into the half-hour edition of the MSG Sports Desk tonight following Yankee coverage. And for extensive coverage of the national sports scene, stick around till midnight and watch Fox Sports News tonight at midnight. You hear Bob Shepard in the background announcing Mariano Rivera looking for his 17th save. Just 1 walk to 17 base runners. And even though he has given up a run in a couple of his last save opportunities, he's had a little something to work with. Couple run cushion. Ozzie Guillen will lead it off for the Braves. If they get anything going, they still have 3 left-hand hitters left on the bench. They have Keith Lockhart. They have Curtis Pride and a power threat in Ryan Klesko. There's Lockhart. And the first pitch to Guillen in for a strike. Braves broke up out on top. A walk, a single, and a double by Gerald Williams, the ex-Yankee. That gave them the lead. Right off the glove of Tino Martinez down in the right field corner, and Guillen's going to have a double to start the Braves' 9th. It's a nice night for the veteran shortstop. A walk and a pair of hits and a sacrifice bunt.
Tino playing off of the line. And you don't expect Guillen to really pull the ball with authority that way, but he does, as you mentioned, by Martinez. And the 2-base hit to get things started.
Now the tying run at the plate, the person of Keith Lockhart. And there's the power threat in the on-deck circle, Ryan Klesko. In for a strike.
Perseverance might be Lockhart's middle name. 8 years in the minor leagues before getting a chance. Appeared in 27 games for the San Diego Padres in '94. Then moved on to the Royals for a couple of years. Now with the Braves.
Waves at the high fastball, and it's quickly 0-2.
Lockhart usually starts against right-handed pitching. Here's a fastball way out of the zone. No chance. Put another one up there.
He did, and it's popped up near the home plate area. Girardi has room, and he puts it away, 1 down.
Not many guys can get on top of that fastball and drive it.
Well, there's one that's going to try it right now, and if he does, this is one of those battles. If you've stuck around, some of the 53,000 plus have left, but you're going to see a powerful fastball hitter, 12 home runs on the year, against a fastball pitcher. Granted, most lefties like the ball down in the strike zone, so you can look for Rivera to try to get Klesko to hit the high one. Guillen at second. He led off with a double. Big swing. Wow. Well, in the house that Ruth built, that was a swing that was reminiscent of the Babe. Got the high socks, and he had a hack at that one.
He's been sitting there 8 innings to take a swing like this. Whoa.
He had designs on that upper deck. Just off the inside corner, 1-1.
Little cut fastball ran in on his hands. You know, sometimes when you take a big swing against a hard thrower, what you're doing is swinging yourself. You get too much body. You got to really trust your hands and your wrist to get the bat through the zone. Quickness.
Those numbers tell it all about Ryan Klesko. He doesn't pinch hit very often, hitting a .196, but he's going up there with one thing in mind: swing hard in case I hit it. 2-1. Broken bat towards short. Jeter to Martinez in time, and there are 2 down as Guillen advances to third base.
If you're a Yankee outfielder, you want to move back, play deep, give up the single, no doubles. The runner at third doesn't mean much, so the day is deep in left center field. Curtis very deep in center, and the same for O'Neill in right.
And the fans sensing that one more out can give the Yankees a win, and it's popped up to short left field. Leday in, Jeter out. Leday said he's got it, and he does. Save number 17, and the Yankees with a nice come from behind 6-4 win. Leo Mazzoni's staff, the best starting pitchers in the National League, but the Yankees reached Greg Maddux for 3 runs, and then the veteran Dennis Martinez with some control problems, and Joe Torre with his solid bullpen at the end of the ball game come up with another win, their 51st of the year. And with the Red Sox losing the Yankee lead in the American League back to 9 games. And the Yankees continue their success, Kenny, in those series openers at home. They're the best in baseball at that.
Best in baseball, and they fire the opening salvo here and pick up a win in the first of what will be a 4-game series. 2 games here in New York and then 2 in Atlanta in an odd bit of scheduling, but that's the way you're going to play them. And as Joe Torre has said all season long, we take them one day at a time, and they've taken 51 of them so far.
Nice treat for the fans. They saw some pretty good pitching from Maddox and Pettit. Enough action, 10 runs. Back on MSG to wrap this one up.
$1998, Yoo-Hoo, America's #1 chocolate drink. The Yankees and Yoo-Hoo, 75 years of the best of New York.
53,316 on hand tonight to see this interleague battle between baseball's best teams, the Braves and the Yankees. Let's check it out in the Jeep Eagle game summary. The Yankees with 6 runs, 11 hits, and an error. That was Andy Pettit's error. Cost them a run. The Braves 4-9-0. It was decided by the bullpens. Jeff Nelson gets the win. He's 5-3. Dennis Martinez takes the loss. Mariano Rivera saved it his 17th. No home runs in the game, but a pretty big extra base hit is our Dodge drive of the game.
Well, we saw Tim Raines with a double and a run scored in the 6th inning. This is the 7th. There's 2 men aboard with 2 outs. And Raines in the 7th inning with his 7th double of the year, 2-run score. The Yankees take the lead, and they're on their way to the 6-4 win.
And I think we talked about it before the game, Kenny. If you went down in the clubhouses right now, I don't think either team feels that it's no different than losing to the Kansas City Royals or beating the Arizona Diamondbacks. But to the fans, this was a pretty exciting night.
I think anytime you put 2 good clubs on the field, the fans will turn out. And maybe we didn't expect 53,000 here tonight, but they certainly showed up. And you can expect another big crowd tomorrow night, another good pitching matchup. See if El Duque can handle the best team in the National League. And they're going to throw somebody named Tom Glavine, who's won a Cy Young Award himself. But tonight, you're right, Kitty, a ball game where Maddox comes out after the 6th inning, and the Yankees jumped all over the Braves bullpen. 3 in the 7th got the job done for New York.
And I think you're right when you look at the Atlanta Ball Club and knowing John Schuerholz, if you project that these 2 teams are going to be in postseason play, they're going to have to make some moves and probably get some veterans out there.
They want a better matchup in late innings against the Yankees. Not anything against Dennis Martinez, who's had a great career, but he's not really a guy who's going to close out games for you. They're waiting on Mark Wohlers to see if he can get his stuff together down in the minor leagues. This guy had been one of the top closers in the game, but the fact is he has struggled, and if he continues to do so, you're right, John Schuerholz, Bobby Cox, they're not afraid to pull the trigger. If they don't get any help from the bullpen, they can shore up their ball club in another area. They've been known to do it.
I thought one of the great hitting performances in tonight's game was the approach that all of the Yankee hitters took, but particularly Chad Curtis against Greg Maddox. He had some big hits, and he's standing by in our studio right now with Al Troutwig. Al?
Yeah, Jimmy, Chad, what about your approach when you go into a game and you're hitting against a guy like Greg Maddox, and you wonder, is he going to put it off the plate, and is he going to get those calls, and all the patience, all the things that you had to do to prepare for this?
It's a little different, a guy like that, just such good control, and if a guy's got that good of control, he probably deserves to get a little bit off the plate, not too much, but you got to be aggressive and try to get a pitch to hit.
So in a game where you get 3 hits, is there one consistent approach? Is there something that you can sort of zero in on and say, you know why I got those hits because of?
No, I don't really think I could say that. It's just happened to get a couple balls, maybe a little bit, caught a little more plate than what he wanted to, and I was able to get him out there.
Key thing for you guys tonight was responding every time Atlanta took the lead. They went up 2-0, you came back. They went up 3-2, they came back, and then the 3rd comeback was the inning that you were involved in, that insurance run. That extra run with the bullpen that you guys have is really key. Take me through the sequence and what led to the hit.
Well, the guy was, submarine pitcher. It's a little bit tougher to, pick the ball up right-handed against a right-handed submariner, and he was throwing me sinkers, and I just really wasn't quite getting to it. And I just missed that one enough to get a base hit out of it. So
I mean, it's real Chad Curtis baseball. I mean, it's not a thing of beauty, but you hustle down the line, you make the play. You broke up a double play at second base tonight. It's just the way you love to play, right?
Well, that's the way I learned how to play, and it means a lot to be able to go out there and compete every night. And that's what's got me to the big leagues. That's what's keeping me in it, and I'm gonna keep playing that way.
Having fun playing center field while Bernie's getting back?
It's a little more comfortable out there than left field, but I'd rather play left field beside Bernie than center field without him.
Talk to me about that ball that went off of Tim Raines' glove that led to the first 2 runs of the game. Was there something that you learned about left field that makes that a tough play for him to make?
Well, he actually did a real good job to get to it, and he was just so extended. His arm was so far extended to try to get leather on it, he just couldn't quite pull it in. But I didn't really think he was even going to get to it.
Fabulous atmosphere as only it can be at Yankee Stadium. What was it like? I mean, I know that everybody's trying to say, hey, look, this is one game out of a bunch, but it's got to change the whole way you feel about playing a game when it's like that, the way it was tonight.
Well, coming in, it was just a game, but you got a crowd like that, and they're into it. You got 2 of the best pitchers in baseball going head to head. It does mean something, just the atmosphere. It gives you a little more adrenaline.
So what's the deal? Are we going to have you around the Bronx for a while or not?
Well, I'm hoping so. I've enjoyed my time here. Great guys on the team. Joe and all the coaches, I like playing for them, so we'll just have to see what happens.
Well, maybe we'll have an announcement soon.
Right.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks.
3 hits tonight for Chad Curtis. The Yankees knock out Greg Maddux and take game 1 of this 2-game set in the Bronx. After that, it switches to Atlanta. We'll be back with more of our post-game coverage. But first, here's Deb Kaufman in Manhattan.
Thank you, Al. The Mets did not have similar success. They did hit back-to-back home runs after Bobby Valentine got thrown out of the game, but Mike Mussina settled down big time after that, retiring 22 in a row, and the Orioles beat the Mets 7-2. Cal Ripken and Rafi Palmeiro both homered. Just called up, Bill Pulsipher did pitch well in relief. We'll have highlights on our late show. Mary Pearson, Yevgeny Kafelnikov upset in their first-round matches at Wimbledon. Steffi Graf, Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, and Monica Seles all won their first-round matches. At the World Cup, the Colombians stay alive with a 1-0 win over Tunisia, and a late goal powers Romania into the second round with a 2-1 win over England. Phil Jackson rides off into the sunset. We'll hear from him later tonight. And the Yankees take game 1 against the Braves 6-4. We'll be back with more on MSG right after this.
It's summer, so count on your
High school athlete of the year. And Jason Williams is not the kind of guy to play hardball with the Nets. We'll hear from him as well. Up next, though, a quick break, and then we'll get you back to Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees take advantage of the Braves bullpen, and then they take game 1. We'll see you later.
And the game is just underway. The Yankees, however, seem to be short one player. Where is Tim Raines?
Raines, Coach, where are you? The game starts.
Sorry, Coach. I was at Globe Motors. I got this brand new Mercedes-Benz. She's a blast. I can't turn her off.
Snap out of it, Raines. Get here 5 minutes or out.
I can't leave you.
When you ship with Priority Mail, it's a great way to save money. But what about other parts of the world? There's Global Priority Mail. And here's the best part. Give us a few days more, and you can save up to 70% over FedEx or UPS. So, what's your global priority? Try Global Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
Look what you're missing this Friday if you don't have Hollywood Hits. Movies, original programming, and special events on multi-channel HBO, multi-channel Showtime, and multi-channel Stars. Volcano on HBO, Stargate SG-1 on Showtime, and Jack on Stars, all playing this Friday. To order Hollywood Hits, call your local Prime Star distributor. Tune to Prime Star's Movie Preview Channel 99 for this Friday's feature start times.
NBA fans, now you can order $1998.99 NBA League Pass on Prime Star at the early bird price of $139 by calling 1-800-932-2007. With NBA League Pass, you'll choose from up to 40 NBA games a week. And you'll also receive 1998 WNBA Season Pass at no extra charge. Call 1-800-932-2007 to order NBA League Pass and get WNBA Season Pass as a bonus. See you courtside on Prime Star.
Once again, the final score from the stadium. The Yankees win at 6-4. Jeff Nelson, the winner. Dennis Martinez, the loser. Mariano Rivera picks up his 17th save of the year. Coming up next, our Tri-State Jeep and Eagle post-game report with Al Troutwig and Michael Kay. And be sure to be with us again tomorrow on MSG, starting at 7 o'clock with the New York City Marriott's Yankee Scorecard Show. Tom Glavine against El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. Well, it started out with the Braves getting on the board as Tim Raines couldn't quite reach that Gerald Williams double. 2 runs charged to Andy Pettitte. Raines would have something to say about this game later on, however, as the Yankees touched up Greg Maddux for 9 hits tonight. Bobby Cox with an ejection by third base umpire Mike Riley. There's the last laugh as Tim Raines' double drove in the lead run. Our producer's been Leon Schreier, directed by Bill Webb, Eddie Caginelli, and Andrew Braun helping out in the truck. For our entire MSG crew, for my partner Ken Singleton, Jim Cott saying good night, everyone.
New York Yankees baseball has been brought to you by The Dime, the bank that's with you all the way. By the 68,000 professionals at Delta Airlines. By the Discover Card. By your Tri-State GMC dealers, comfortably in command. And by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers.
This is an interleague edition of the Jeep and Eagle postgame report. It's brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Welcome back to the Bronx as the Yankees, in front of a very lively crowd of over 53,000, take the first of 4 straight days between the Yankees and the Atlanta Braves. The 2 best teams in baseball played it tight, and the Yankees with a come from behind. Actually, they came from behind 3 times to take this one 6-4. Jeff Nelson in relief of Andy Pettitte got the win. Dennis Martinez in relief of Greg Maddux took the loss. And Mariano Rivera nailed it down for a 17th time this season. Well, it's a strange habit these Atlanta Braves have when they come to Yankee Stadium. They decide to play their outfielders shallow, too shallow. In 1996's World Series in Game 6, remember Joe Girardi put one over the head of Marquise Grissom, and that exploded the ball game. The Yankees scored 2 and went on to win and beat Greg Maddux. Tonight, the baseball gods worked in strange ways for Tim Raines. Off his glove early in the ball game, but then he's at the plate in the same situation to provide 2 runs and beat the Atlanta Braves. And what happens? Andrew Jones is playing center field this time, and he's way too shallow to make a play. And the Yankees win this ball game by a count of 6-4. Let's go back. We've got it on a reel. The highlights of tonight's Yankee win at the stadium. It's all called the Discover Playback Payback. Joe Torre and Bobby Cox, neither of them liked the umpiring, but Joe Torre managed the entire game. Cox was thrown. In the top of the third, Atlanta's got a 2-0 lead. Gerald Williams lines one to left. Tim Raines can't make the play, and it rolls all the way to the wall. That's how the Braves built up that lead. And Andy Pettitte watched in frustration as it just missed, I mean inches, from being an inning-ending play. But Paul O'Neill came through with a single up the middle as the Yankees got 4 consecutive hits with 2 outs to come back and tie this game, and here's how they tied it officially. Tino Martinez at the plate. His shoulder blade still not right. He's still looking to find his swing. Maybe he's got it with that one as Derek Jeter scores, and the game is tied at 2. In the top of the 6th inning, Chipper Jones is at the plate, and he lays down a bunt. Andy Pettitte, oh boy, does he want this one back? Into center field. And so it's 1st and 3rd. And 1 batter later, Javi Lopez was at the plate. And that's a drilled single to center field. Just missing on the grab was Andy Pettitte. So the Braves back in front again, 3-2. What do the Yankees do? They respond right away. Darryl Strawberry rips this one down the line in the bottom of the 6th. This after Tim Raines doubled. He scores, and so the game was tied once again at 3. Now it's time for the Braves to make their move, and it happened in the top of the 7th. 2 outs, 2 on, and Chipper Jones is at the plate. And this ground ball has eyes to it, and it gets out to left field. Danny Bautista scores, and the Braves lead for a 3rd time in the ball game. What do the Yankees do? They respond. In the bottom of the 7th, it's Tim Raines. Remember that whole baseball gods thing? Well, He comes through big time, and there's Andrew Jones. Where's he playing? Raines has power, and it goes all the way to the wall. The Yankees score 2, go in front 5-4. Chad Curtis brought in another insurance run, and the Yankees watched Mariano Rivera come in and allow a runner to reach third, but there he froze. Because with this fly ball into the glove of Ricky Leday, the Yankees had the ball game, and Mariano Rivera had the save. Quick look elsewhere in baseball coming up with Deb Kaufman. Then we'll have Michael Kay's Clubhouse Report. 6-4 Yankees. This is MSG. Deb?
Thank you, Al. And Bobby Cox was not the only manager thrown out tonight. Bobby Valentine watched from the clubhouse as the Mets hit back-to-back home runs, but those were the only 2 hits they would get. The Orioles take Game 1 at Camden Yards, the final 7-2. The rest of the interleague scores look like this. Just a wild game at Fenway Park in Boston. Curt Schilling got rocked, but the Phillies come back and win the game 9-8 in 10. And now the Reds have lost 9 straight, shut out tonight by Kansas City. Jerry Reinsdorf's other team, the Chicago White Sox, beat the Pirates 5-4. They need extra innings in Tampa. Florida and Tampa Bay are all tied up at 2. They've gone to the 12th at Tropicana Field. The Battle of Canada goes to Toronto tonight, 14-2. And then Doc Gooden gets the win for Cleveland, the final in Chicago, 3-1. Henry Rodriguez homered. Sammy Sosa did not. He went 0 for 4 tonight, struck out a couple of times. Eric Milton, the former Yankee farmhand, gets the win for Minnesota. The Twins beat the Astros 5-3. No Mark McGwire home run. Ray Langford went deep. McGwire is homerless now in his last 4 games. He's hit a drought. The Cardinals beat the Tigers 4-1. Andy Bennis has not pitched well this year. He has a shutout going to the 9th. Arizona leads Texas 6-0. And in a battle of Los Angeles, the Dodgers lead the Angels under their new manager, Glenn Hoffman, managing tonight 2-0. They're in the 4th at Edison Field. The one National League matchup between Colorado and the Brewers is 3-2. Darryl Kyle goes 7 innings, does not figure in the decision. It's the Rockies bullpen that takes the loss. The Cardinals announced today they are limiting the media's access to Mark McGwire. Here we go. They say it's out of hand and have set a few rules to help McGwire manage interview requests as he chases Roger Maris's home run record. We'll see you again with Mike Quick after the Yankees postgame report. Still to come, more from Al Trautwig, and Michael Kay has the Clubhouse Report, all coming up on MSG after this.
You are watching the Jeep and Eagle Post-Game Report, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Hey, that was
The Iowa music system features a dual CD changer, double cassette deck, digital tuner, remote control, and Q sound for 3D enhancement. Call 1-800-BUY-IOWA.
It's that time of night where Michael Kay takes over the network. The Yankees beat the Atlanta Braves 6-4. Jeff Nelson in relief gets the win. He's got 5 of those. Dennis Martinez has 4 of those losses. And Mariano Rivera has a 17th save. I'm told that the upcoming question for Mr. Kay is very special and probing of the manager.
Now, you didn't walk against Maddox, but you certainly made him throw a lot of pitches. He was out after the 6th. Was that kind of a game plan to get into their bullpen?
Well, he's around the plate. It's tough to have a game plan against Maddox unless you're thinking in small terms, which is what we are. We're not trying to hit home runs. We're just trying to hit the ball the other way, put the ball in play, and try to make things happen. He got a big strikeout on Brocious when we were trying to take a lead, and he wouldn't have that. So, I was just glad that we were able to stay close until he left, basically.
What was that call on Jeter in the 7th inning?
Oh, it hit his foot, and McClellan said he thought the ball slowed up, and I said, well, I'm just asking you to ask somebody else because they have a better look at it than someone's, behind the plate.
Now, what was your feeling when the ball went up in the air when Raines hit it? Did you think it was over Andrew Jones' head?
Well, when he turned around the way he did, I did. He's a very good center fielder. In that situation, they're trying to keep the tie and run from scoring, and a base hit up the middle, he's trying to cheat on it a little bit. But Timmy hit the ball really hard, and when I saw him turn around the way he did, I knew it was over his head.
Did you like Pettit's performance?
Pettit was great. He a couple of things, otherwise he probably gives up 1 run. The walk to Guillen before the double by Williams, and he rushed his throw to second base on that on the bunt. So aside from that, he was terrific. I thought he had real good stuff and very good command.
And now we get the real deal out of the Yankees clubhouse just down the hall. It's time now for Michael Kay's Clubhouse Report. It's brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis, Broadway's biggest hit. Now Mike's in our studio, not his usual ebullient self, are you? What's the problem?
I have no problem. I feel great.
Great game, electric. This is what it's all about.
It really is great, though. I mean, the fans, what they generate when this place is full, it really just makes it feel like it's not a regular season game.
I was absolutely stunned that there were 53,000 people in this ballpark today. I think, you know, people, when they were guessing, said 35, 40, maybe 42, but 53 poured in, and tomorrow's game is supposed to be even more. So I guess interleague works for the Yankees sometimes.
I mean, are you in agreement that really at this point there's no American League team that could put 53,000 in here on a Monday night? I don't even think the Red Sox do that.
Maybe the Red Sox at the end of the year. But
at the end of the year, but
yeah.
not now.
Not on June 22nd or 23rd. I don't think it would happen. You're right.
Now, after 2 starts ago, Andy Pettitte had that little thing in his hip. You wondered, is this going to be a problem?
Right.
It looks as though he's got his stuff going. I thought he looked extremely good tonight.
He looked pretty good.
The worst pitch he made was the throw to second base.
And, you know, I asked him about that, and he said that he kind of panicked. He said because he knows Gerald Williams is really quick, and he was thinking about going to first and just getting one.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but then Joe Girardi yelled second. He turned to second, and you could see Jeter and Knobloch converging at the same time. Nobody was actually on second base. So then he tried to lead Knobloch. He threw behind him, and that turned out to be a very big play in the game. But he did pitch very well, and he said that the base hit by Chipper Jones in the 7th inning, he knew that was his last batter because with Nelson warming up, Galarraga on deck, he's got to get Chipper Jones to stay in the game. And Chipper Jones hit a pretty good pitch through the left side of the infield, and Pettitte said, I give them all the credit. They're a very good team.
And as the Yankees take on the Atlanta Braves, you know, you think about the future, World Series perhaps, and you look at that Atlanta bullpen and you say to yourself, Mark Wohlers sent down to the Gulf Coast League this week, I think it was yesterday. And you get in that bullpen, this is not a team that's as strong as the Yankees, I don't think.
Well, as good as this team has been over the years, the reason they only have 1 world championship is because they've never really had a great bench, and their bullpen has always been somewhat suspect after or before Wohlers. But now Wohlers hasn't been getting the job done. And the thing that's really strange is that in the most important inning of the game, they had Dennis Martinez pitch to all those lefties. Now you have 2 lefties out there, and you decide not to go with either of them. You don't go with Rocker, you don't go with Embry. You stay with a 43-year-old right-hander that was out of baseball the second half of last year. You know, you pitched to O'Neill and you pitched to Tino Martinez, so that tells you their bullpen and the strength of their bullpen or lack thereof. This year they have a much better bench, as you can see the guys they pulled off pinch hitting, you know, in the 9th inning against Rivera, but their bullpen is shaky.
In the 8th inning, Joe Torre sent Ricky Leday out to patrol left field for the Yankees. That's because Tim Raines had to ice down his aging legs. He had already made a big-time contribution in this one. However, when he first got involved in this game, things weren't looking so good, were they, Mike? 3rd inning.
No, not at all. This is a pitch that Pettitte would like back. Gerald Williams just crushed it deep to left center field, and Raines got there, but it went off the edge of his glove, and he made up for it right here, though.
Big play. Andrew Jones playing, I thought, way too shallow. I don't know where he was.
They
and what
play
he was
shallow
thinking.
for everybody. It's amazing. And that was over his head.
So, Tim Raines, off his glove and to the aid of his team. Here he is.
Tim, can you talk about that double?
Double.
The game winner?
Oh. Well, that was a situation of, I haven't really been swinging the bat that well, and I was fortunate enough to get a double earlier in the game, and I felt pretty good at the plate. And I was just looking for something out of the plate, and I felt a little confident after getting the double before that at bat, and he threw me a fastball out over the plate and got a good swing on it.
Was that pretty much his pattern? He looked like he moved you in once, and then he was away.
Well, I think they want to try to pitch me away and then maybe come in with breaking balls. As a matter of fact, Maddox threw me away the whole game, and the one hit I got was a breaking ball inside, and he came in once, and the rest of the pitches was away. So, I think when I'm swinging the bat well, it really doesn't matter where they're throwing me. I just been off a little bit, and in the day, hopefully I found it.
When it left the bat, did you think it was over his head?
Well, I knew they was playing me in, and I knew I got a good swing, and I got a good part of the bat on the ball, and I was just hoping that he couldn't get to it. And once I saw him take off and put his head down, I knew he didn't have a chance.
What kind of feeling was that?
Well, it was a good feeling. I mean, in a game like this, big crowd, and those are the type of games you really want to come out with a big hit. And I think, when you got 50-something thousand people screaming, you want to do something good.
He's got a great sense of humor. Double. What double were you
Well,
talking
he
about?
did have two, so I think he was just.
Oh, but come on. The one that blew the game open.
He wanted me to be precise, and he's right. So I said the game winner, and then he answered it well.
And you were precise.
Yes, I was.
All right, so Mike, here are the Yankees in the midst of this stretch that I think we'll still be talking about when this season draws to a close, of where they're finally playing some good teams and they're playing in consecutive games. After this, it's the Mets, and that's going to be hyped up to the max. They're 5-4, and you really get the sense that Bernie's playing a role in this?
I think Bernie is playing a role. I think that right now they are so much less of a team without Bernie, and not knocking anybody that's taken over, but when you have to play depth, you do affect other things. Bernie Williams in the middle of that lineup, a big right-handed bat, which they really don't have.
Now, and that whole road trip, O'Neill didn't hit, Tino didn't hit, and that's the Bernie
Tino's
factor.
really been struggling, and the Bernie factor is really important because you could match up lefties and not have to worry about that big right-handed bat in the middle. Also, it affects them defensively. The play that Raines did make today, well, Chad Curtis would have been in left field. He probably makes that play because Bernie's in center. So, you know, it's almost like an extrapolating effect because extrapolating. One leads into the other, And, yeah, I think that Bernie is due back in New York on Friday. He started to run today.
I don't think that's what extrapolating means.
Yeah, it does.
No, I think extrapolating is when you take little bits of evidence and draw something out of it.
You're wrong.
Well, we're going to have to look that up
Yeah,
then.
okay, fine.
We'll have to see.
Why don't we take the dictionary out tomorrow?
Okay.
Okay.
One.
BU?
No, I didn't go to BU.
Oh, Mass.
No,
UMass,
Adelphi.
right?
I stayed home, okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll be back to show you why.
Ivy League.
Back in a moment.
The Eagle Post-Game Report, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Yankees beat the Atlanta Braves 6-4, the final score. The Yankees get 9 hits off of Greg Maddux. It's the most base runners he's had to face since April. Jeff Nelson gets the win. Dennis Martinez takes the loss. And I think what you can extrapolate from that is that the Yankees are a pretty good ball club. However, in Webster's Vest Pocket Dictionary, this little edition that we have here, extrapolate is not in there. Tomorrow on the postgame, we're going to solve who's right. Okay?
We know who's right.
No, we
I'm
don't.
right. Adelphi Fordham, who's right?
Bernie Williams, quick update on his status.
Well, he's going to hit off the tee Friday. And Joe Torre on the road trip had opened up the door just a little bit that maybe Bernie would come back and play against the Mets. Today kind of shut the door a little bit more. You know, Bernie would love to play against the Mets. Yankee organization would love to have him. But it looks like maybe next week sometime, or maybe they'll start him in Tampa Bay after the All-Star break.
Now, sports can be funny. You got the same situation for both teams. I thought McClellan's strike zone was equally wide for both pitchers. He had respect, obviously, for both pitchers' control. And yet both managers found times to complain about the strike zone because it is weird when you see it so wide off the plate. I mean, sometimes 8 inches off the plate on a replay, and it's called a strike.
It is strange, and I think you'll see more of it tomorrow because John Hirschbeck is known as a pitcher's umpire. He's behind the plate tomorrow, so that'll help Orlando Hernandez, who certainly knows how to expand the zone, and also Tom Glavine. It should be a great game tomorrow.
All right. 2 examples now of what the managers were talking about here tonight. First, Derek Jeter's at the plate. Greg Maddux, obviously, great control. Gets the outside strike, gets the low strike. I mean, that thing is, at least on the replay, well below the knees. It's called a strike. Joe Torre had something to say for Mr. McClellan, and Mr. McClellan said, "That's it, I've heard enough." Now in the 6th inning, Maddux pretty well off the plate. Catcher gets up, he starts to walk off, and umpires don't like that. That was a ball that time.
That was a ball that time, but you see what the catchers, both of the catchers did, they're very smart. They know that McClellan has a large strike zone, so they don't set up over the plate. They set up outside the plate, and the pitcher hits the glove, umpire says strike.
Right.
It was strange that he didn't get the strike call on that one because he did hit the glove, but you've got to know going in what type of umpires you're dealing with. McClellan has a huge strike zone, and as I said, Hirschbeck also has a huge strike zone, and the last crew that they saw in Cleveland, every pitch seemed like it was a strike, so it's not the 17-inch strike zone anymore.
Well, we'll be back tomorrow night here in the Bronx. Hopefully the fans provide the same atmosphere as tonight. We wrap it up. With Michael Kay, I'm Al Troutwig. The Yankees beat the Atlanta Braves 6-4. Nelson over Martinez, Rivera with the save. Now tomorrow we'll get a chance to see the Yankees and the Braves complete this series. We'll focus in on Tim Raines' recent family accomplishments and accomplishments on the field with the New York City Marriott's Yankee scorecard. Coming up next, Deb Kaufman anchors a full report on the day's events from the MSG Sports Desk, and then we turn it out to Hollywood for Fox Sports News. A fun night of baseball, and ex-Yankee Gerald Williams has found a home, and he was a big part of everything that the Braves did well tonight. A little bit of a tough break there. Andy Pettit's throw goes into center field, but you know what? The Yankees were able to overcome both of those plays to win the ball game 6-4. Big hits by Chad Curtis and Tim Raines. And tonight's game was produced by Leon Schweier, directed by Bill Webb. Replays, including this one, courtesy of Andrew Braun, and all the printed information on your screen from Eddie Casanelli. The Grand High Exalted Mystic Ruler of MSG Network is Mike McCarthy. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you tomorrow.
There's a big cover-up performed by millions of people every